Hi everyone, Canyon and Cody here, and we're finally back up at the mine. So, it is 11:30 at night, but the whole idea is that we get an early start in the morning, and the goal for this episode is to muck out the mine, make it ready for the next blast. But also, I have a couple of new cameras that I'd like to try out. First of all, I can now take long exposures. I can take pictures of stars now. I'm so excited. But also, I now have a thermal camera. I've been wanting one of these for a long time. You can actually see a lot better now because I'm using the infrared light. Here, let's turn this around and have a look at the hillside. You can hear the dogs are barking at us. Very low frame rate. Look at this, you can even see the moon in the sky. You can tell where the rocks and where the sun shines most strongly. It's like up there on top of the mountain is an outcrop of rock. It gets heated up by the sun. Isn't that cool? What I really want to see is what it looks like inside the mine. So let's actually head in there. Alright, so looks like some flowers have grown up since I was here last. Everything looks good though. Let's switch to infrared and head on in. See how this looks, eh? Alright, so it's obviously cooler in there. Also interesting how it's warmer up near the ceiling and the floor. I guess that makes sense because heat rises. Seems like turning my flashlight on makes no difference. This airline here it's definitely warmer. Oh, you can actually see some of the rocks are cooler. Let's see, what is this rock that's colder? That's shell. This is limestone here. So the shell, yeah, it feels wetter, so moisture evaporating must be cooling it off. So here's the shell that has water, and here's the limestone. You can see the salts and whatever else is in the groundwaters coming out there. Let's head on in. Oh, you can see the bat. Did you see that? Yeah, mammals really show up on this thing. Oh, that's cool. Here, turn off your light and let him past you. Oh, there it is.
I thought I just heard him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep, there he goes. Hopefully he goes out and gets a moth or something. Yeah, see, there's not very much moist rock in here. It does seem like it's colder right in the very back. There's my weed sprayer. You know what it probably is it's still moist from the last time I was here, spraying down the dust. So that's the mine and infrared light. There's Canyon standing over there. Okay, we can turn off our lights. Here, turn off your light. And the camera is still fine. I mean, the frame rate and the resolution's not all that great, but there you go. Well, I do hit the ceiling more than you do.
Just a little taller.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like a mess.
Alright, that'll work. It's not hard to get around it.
Yeah.
Needing to widen my tunnel. It's better than a tent. There, now the cougars can't get in. Oh, hello.
Is that what I think it is?
Yeah, that's a black widow spider. You can see the males that she's killed.
Is that what they are?
Yeah. they're not really a problem as long as we're not actively messing with her.
Yeah, I don't really want to be bitten.
I've actually been bitten 3 times by black widows, so I'm not too worried.
Well, speak for yourself.
Thanks to the increased size of the portal, the stay inside the mine was much more pleasant than last time. We had more ventilation, and therefore a lower humidity. In fact, the temperature stayed right around 70 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas outside it fluctuated from around 50 to 90. Okay, so it's 8 a.m. Canyon is still asleep over there. But the sun is coming up, so I guess it's time to get to work. First thing I gotta do is move some of these sunflowers out of the way. Just sitting here throwing rocks into the wheelbarrow. Oh, look at that.
That is a massive.
Yep.
That thing seems a little in the way, doesn't it?
Yeah. We got another 4 hours of shoveling at least. I'm actually wondering if we should drive a chisel behind this thing here, knock it down today, and then call that an episode. This thing, I've hit my head on it so many times. I have a chisel. I think I got a hammer around here. Just drive it in behind it, see if we can knock it down. The worst that can happen is we waste a little bit of time. Well, I suppose the worst that can happen is we get squished by it, but stay out from under it while we're hammering on it. Moving it. Alright, ready?
It's making me nervous.
We got it moving now, we have to get it to go down. I might have to bring some explosives up. I'm sure no one wanted to complain, huh?
Yeah, your viewers would hate to see you bring explosives up to the mine.
I pulled some rocks out and I've got a nice little hole right there up near the center of this chunk of rock. Now I'm going to load that with explosives. We're going to punch it. Just got the explosives in the hole, packing rocks around it so that it's basically inside the rock rather than on the surface of the rock. The explosives will not work unless they're well confined. Well, they'll work, it just won't move any rock. I ought to slap some cement on this. Glue everything in place, huh? Really, it just needs some mass to push against. So it doesn't really matter if the rock is solid or not. Get some little ones to wedge it in place. Now, of course, if I was doing this out in the open, these pieces of rock would become shrapnel, which would be bad. So I'd use mud instead. But since I'm underground, it really doesn't matter. Everything's set, we're hot. Let's go get the blasting generator. Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! And punch it. No delay on that fuse. Oh, I love the echoes. Oof. All right. You think that knocked the rock down? Okay. Punch it. You know, actually, I bet the thermal camera could see through the smoke and dust. The wavelengths of infrared light are actually bigger than the dust particles, so it should just go right through them. Oh yeah. I can see right through the smoke. It's interesting how the smoke is actually sitting on the ground. Okay, One breath. You're right in. It's open. Cool. Okay. Okay. Breathe again. Let's do that with the optical camera so you can see the difference. Okay, so here's the optical camera. You can see the smoke's kind of hanging towards the ground because the smoke from the explosives is actually kind of heavy. But come back here, you can't see anything. It's a thick wall of smoke. All right, well, we set out to clear away all the rubble, and we ended up just making more. But it's always fun to set off an explosion. And from looking on the thermal camera, hopefully I got it, but it looked like that little chunk of rock we wanted gone is totally missing. So we were at least successful in that. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.